camera. Good morning. As we continue with our commitment of a bi-weekly / bi-monthly update on the March 31st EF3 tornado for our residents, business owners here in the state's capital city, as we keep it front of mind as we continue to rebuild in the western portion of our city. It's now been 68 days since that devastating tornado that shook our city, but we continue to be proud of the resiliency of our city as we come together more united to focus on rebuilding efforts. I'm so grateful to have City Director Kathy Peck, Ward 4 Director, where it literally devastated her particular ward, and she's been a valiant supporter, advocate, and leader in making certain things get done. And we're very grateful for her being with us today. As we had multiple briefings, we want to continue to share new information. One of the things is we know at our last briefing, we shared a deadline for our residents in the affected areas to have the construction and vegetation debris to the end of their streets, their neighborhood, their areas of their homes by June 11th. That date was predicated on the City of Little Rock's FEMA assistance that we're receiving. As we all know, we had a little more than 30 to 45 days, I believe, of 100% FEMA assistance and reimbursement. And then anything after that date, I believe that date was May 13th, it would then go to a 75% reimbursement rate. As we've always projected that the city will ultimately have to spend somewhere around $10 million. And so in working with our contractor, our private contractor that's doing additional assistance, DRC Emergency Services, we've been doing some different scheduling to get things in order because we have to maintain the cost of the reimbursement that's attributed to the city as we move forward. That being said, that's why we came up with the date of June 11th. However, in continuing to listen to the community and giving the community more time and working alongside City Director Kathy Peck, we've made the decision to extend the deadline, the debris deadline, from June 11th to June 25th. Again, the new deadline will go from June 11th to June 25th, and that will be the final deadline. And with this deadline, it does come with a cost that we are perfectly fine with because we want to always be responsive to the community and give them additional time, particularly with one of the most vulnerable times that they've ever experienced in their lives at this time. That being said, again, the debris deadline will extend from June 11th to June 25th. That will be the final deadline. We'll do a final sweep with our private contractor. So far, we've already picked up close to 400,000 of cubic yards of waste. Just to kind of give you a picture, we've already filled an NFL football stadium with the amount of waste, and we got a couple 100,000 to go, and that's the reason why we're pushing for the deadline so we can do a final sweep with our big trucks with the private contractor. But we're going to extend that again from June 11th to June 25th. That will be the final deadline. Wanted to share that. Secondly, as we continue to share praise for the donors of the Little Rock Cares, as we shared how we'll be distributing those funds for direct pay, as well as with the noted nonprofit organizations that we're working with them to get those dollars out pretty soon. We've shared that update, but also we wanted to share that part of direct pay assistance is that we have to identify a vendor that's going to really take on the reins of ensuring that those are the right individuals who have been affected, they get these dollars. And so today we're making the announcement that United Way will be our third-party administrator to ensure that the direct pay assistance gets to the residents. And so we're working through the final negotiations on that paperwork. We'll have more information to share, but did want to follow up from the last meeting, last briefing, that United Way will be our third-party administrator. We do appreciate them. There will come administrative costs, as I shared at the last briefing. That administrative cost will not come from the $500,000+ of donations. That'll come from the City of Little Rock. We'll work with the city board. I believe somewhere around 15%. It's going to probably roughly be less than $50,000 that we'll pay them out of city general revenue, not the donation dollars. I wanted to make certain that you knew that. Very grateful for that. And then finally, before I pass off to our Chief Data Officer, Marquise Willis, is data played a huge role in how we communicated with the public real time what was going on from the close to 3,000 impacted structures in the pathway of the tornado that were impacted, things that were going on for planning and development and how we're going to rebuild from a permitting standpoint to other things as it relates to what we're doing, communicating real time for public safety as well as emergency response. And so what we wanted to do is share this data that we've accumulated over the past 68 days on how we also prepare for the next emergency response. And so it gives us the opportunity to have some key learnings that we can be better prepared, even better than we were the first time, because we do know in this day and age that another weather event will happen. And so we want to make certain that we are able to get that done. We want to give great kudos to Marquise Willis and our entire communications team and data team who work real time to ensure that the city of Little Rock, the state's capital city, we're given real time, accurate information. And we all know that that was very beneficial to the residents. I also want to say thank you to Nathan Spicer, who's here to my left, and Matt Burks, a part of the emergency management team, who work closely with our data office as well. That being said, Marquise Willis.
As you're all aware, on March 31st, 2023, the city of Little Rock was struck by an EF3 tornado. In an effort to assess our damage, gauge our response, and monitor the recovery, the city of Little Rock created data points to help tell our story. We were able to quickly identify that there were approximately 2,983 structures in the path of the tornado that could have received damage. Because of this, the city acted quickly to establish a family assistance center and to issue temporary housing vouchers through our Housing and Neighborhood Programs Department. While those services were operational, we received 1,512 check-ins at our Family Assistance Center, and our Housing and Neighborhood Programs Department issued 255 vouchers for temporary housing. Thanks to the kindness and generosity of residents of the city of Little Rock and surrounding areas, we received over 420 pallets of donations at our Emergency Operations Center. Next slide, please. With the help of our partners at Esri and GIS, we were able to quickly create a real-time damage assessment portal to monitor the damage throughout the city. We have an active record showing almost 1,600 properties and how they were impacted by the tornado. With this damage assessment portal, both residents and employees were able to log damage in real time with photos, so we had an active picture of what was going on throughout the city of Little Rock. Next slide. We fully recognize that recovery is an ongoing thing, and our volunteers played a huge part in our recovery efforts. We had approximately 4,215 people dedicate time to help clean up our city. With that time, they gave us 21,183 hours. And for the city of Little Rock, that created a savings of over $693,000. Cleanup will be an ongoing effort, and the damage to our city was extensive. Throughout yesterday, we've collected 405,000 cubic yards of debris. 323,000 of those yards was vegetative debris, and around 83,000 of those yards have been construction debris. To paint a picture for you all, the 400,000 yards actively fills over 4,000 football fields in the city of Little Rock. We will continue to use data-driven efforts to respond to the needs of our citizens as the response and recovery efforts continue for the city of Little Rock. Mayor Scott.
Thank you so much, Marquise, for sharing that data. We'll now open the floor for any questions. Joseph? We do not have that, but it's one of the, we don't know at this point in time. You have to imagine that when we initially set the June 11th timeline, the DRC Emergency Services, they were then scheduling a number of different loads of vehicles to come to our city to prepare for that particular date. So that's clearly a cost. They'll share that number with us, but again, whatever the number is, we think it's important to extend the deadline to be responsive to the residents. Anything else to add, John?
One question regarding
Sure. First and foremost, the city of Little Rock, as well as the city of Little Rock, from a violent crime standpoint, year to date, violent crime is down a -6% as compared to this time last year. From a homicide perspective, it's close to 45% down. This time last year, we had 38 homicides. Today, we have 20. Overall crime in the city of Little Rock is a -6% as well. That's a big kudos to the men and women of Little Rock Police Department who've been working diligently to address violent crime and overall crime, and we're very proud and happy that violent crime and overall crime is down. As it relates to the River Market area, that too is down considerably as far as violent crime and overall crime. In any situation, we always know there's always room for more improvement, even when violent crime is down. And so we recognize that public safety is a top priority. I think we all understand there was a recent criminal incident in the River Market area. I do think that was an impetus for a number of different things. However, that was an anomaly. It's something that doesn't happen as often, but we still want to continue to focus on violent crime in that particular area. As it relates to the proposed ordinance on the curfew, first and foremost, I think everyone should understand that the city of Little Rock already has a curfew for our minors. That curfew is Monday through Thursday, 10 o'clock p.m., midnights, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Someone might ask, why do you have, to the layman person, why do you have a midnight curfew? Well, you guys can remember, or at least I can remember, when I was in high school, I was working at Walmart on Baseline Road, pushing buggies at 11 o'clock, 11:30. And so for work requirement reasons, that's the reason why there's a midnight there. We do understand there has been an influx of youth in the River Market area, and there's a propensity to have possibility of some drinking because in those entertainment districts. And from a capacity reason, LRPD felt the need that we have an influx of young adults or really minors that are in that particular area close to drinking, and it creates a capacity issue where the officers are concerned about them while they also have to be concerned about potential violent crime. And so that was the reason for the ordinance. I think what you saw last night is that every member of the city board is supportive of a curfew in the permanent entertainment districts, which right now includes the River Market, but as well as the temporary entertainment districts, which includes Soma, 3rd Street, Hillcrest, and the Heights area. And so that curfew will be extended to every entertainment district. I believe the proposed time is 9 o'clock, so if you are under the age of 18, after 9 o'clock, you're not with an adult, that you should not be in those entertainment district areas. And so that's where it is. It's a capacity to ensure that our officers can focus on potential violent crime in that River Market area and not have to balance minors as well. I think Brenda still has the question.
Yeah, that was my next question. So, I mean, what would you normally recommend? Was it like 10 minors, or do they go to 2 feet? Do they get sent home? I mean, because it said the ordinance said that there wasn't enough police to maybe monitor the area, right?
And I think if you watched the city board meeting last night, that ordinance is going to have some significant changes. I want to give credit to City Director Antoine Phillip, who's been working on some changes. We'll be working on some changes with the city attorney as well. But more than likely, the same citations that we give for the existing curfew will be the same, and that just needs to be included in the ordinance. So, and essentially what we do is many times, if we find an individual that's out past the curfew for the existing curfew right now, we generally get that particular young person and call the parent. We're not sending children to jail unless they've committed a crime, but we do have a citation process already in order. So the same process that's in order for the current curfew will be followed for the curfew in the entertainment district. So I want to be very clear. The city of Little Rock already has a curfew. Has had one for decades, and it's Monday through Thursday, 10 o'clock. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's midnight. The reason why is for those children that are working during that period of time. And so this particular curfew for the entertainment district is because we have youth that are exposed and have the ability to potentially be drinking, which they should not, in those particular areas. And so that's the reason why they're changing the time. The proposed ordinance changes that time if you're there outside of being with a parent or a guardian. Next question. Thank you so much. Have a great day.